And I would estimate that that box by itself weighs approximately 60 tons.
The Mysteries of Egypt revealed. Blake Cousins, welcome back everybody right here at Third Phase of Moon. We've got Brian Forrester all the way from Peru joining us. And we're going to be going over the mysteries of Egypt. Who built them? What are their purposes? And including other mysteries of the megalithic structures that still to this day have yet to be explained. Brian Forrester, welcome to Third Phase of Moon.
Aloha Blake and fans of Third Phase of Moon.
Good to be here with you too, Brian. Now, some people are speculating the Luxor statues in Egypt, they've been found to be very much damaged compared to maybe some kind of cataclysmic event. Do you think it could have been caused by a meteorite falling out of the sky and the impact on the ground breaking these statues apart, or some kind of alien war? Also, do you know what time of day the damage occurred to the Luxor statues?
Yes, in the Luxor area, especially at Karnak and the Ramesseum and the Colossi of Memnon, which are all megalithic structures, we definitely see possible signs of plasma damage, as in plasma ejection from the sun, especially on the eastern surfaces of the stone. We see heat scorching, and this has been confirmed by our geologist Susan Moore. At least 2,000 degrees Celsius seems to have hit these ancient megalithic structures, and we believe that these events happened approximately 12,000 years ago, which is about 7,000 years older than the dynastic people that we know of.
And what we're going to see is that this giant statue once again shows very strange heat damage, mainly on the front surface, not so much on the sides, and very little on the back.
There's been discoveries made in Egypt in regards to ancient machines, highly advanced technology, and some of these tools in Karnak that have been discovered are mind-boggling. Do you think these machines, these tools, these devices were powered by electricity or something else?
It seems quite obvious. Karnak and other locations in Egypt where we have megalithic construction out of hard stone such as granite, basalt, and also quartzite, and that makes up the core of the site of Karnak, that indeed, actually we do see tool marks, we see saw marks, we see drill holes, etc. And these are a very advanced technology, in some cases more advanced than what we have in the 21st century, in some cases 500 times more efficient than what we have in the modern day. So we're talking a level of technology beyond the diamond technology that we utilize to cut ancient or to cut stone surfaces. So obviously lost ancient high technology existed in Egypt at a time long before the appearance of the dynastic people.
And in this section, we're going to see some quartzite statues. Again, quartzite is a material that would have been very difficult for dynastic sculptors to work with. And the nearest quarry of quartzite of this scale is located in Cairo, which is quite a fair distance away. Each one of these statues shows not only catastrophic heat damage, but even melting, as you can see here. Since quartzite is very high in quartz, when you apply high heat to quartzite, the material has a tendency of melting, which we saw at another location called Tanis in the Nile Delta. Once again, we see very large statues made of one piece of stone, where large sections of the statues have been obliterated. This is not likely to have been done by invading armies, but again, by ancient cataclysmic activity prior to dynastic times. Taking us back into what the ancient Egyptians called Zep Tepe, or the first time, which describes the pre-dynastic period.
There are many strange pyramids scattered throughout the world. Egypt comes to mind. Abu Rawash, you consider it one of the most bizarre pyramids in the world. Could you tell us why?
The pyramid at Abu Rawash in Egypt could be the strangest pyramid on the planet because it's hard to tell, since it's only half there, whether it was construction and then the construction suddenly stopped for some strange reason, or whether it literally exploded from the inside. We also see evidence of possible explosions inside the Great Pyramid. Abu Rawash is actually relatively close to Giza. You can see the three Great Giza pyramids from it. It's not visited very often because it requires special permission and special security to get there. But recently we've also found out that there are two tunnel systems made up of hundreds of descending stairs that go into the bedrock itself. And we're planning on visiting those locations in March of 2020 on our next tour.
This is the descending passageway into what was a pyramid. Again, look at the charring marks on the left and right hand sides. And here we are descending into the core of this ancient pyramidal structure. Once again, you see the charred marks of the stone, probably not a localized fire, but something far more extensive. And it's at other locations in Egypt, such as Karnak, that again we see these strange high heat scorching marks. Now this is the interior of the descending passageway. You can see it's a combination of limestone blocks and then also the bedrock itself.
Unprecedented footage that we're looking right here, thanks to Brian Forrester's YouTube channel. And recently you're on location within the Valley of the Kings, and the Egyptian authorities used to ban people from videotaping and taking pictures, but now we're able to see its true nature within. What did you take away from being within these massive tunnels, these passageways?
Probably the amazing thing about the shafts and tunnels in the Valley of the Kings, and in fact the Valley of the Queens, is that they are so long. They are hundreds upon hundreds of feet long, carved into the limestone bedrock. There's no way that they could have been created using hand tools of any kind because they're almost laser straight. And again, it's the sheer volume of them. It's also believed that the tunnels of the Valley of the Queens and the Valley of the Kings interconnect. So that's a giant tunnel system in the bedrock in the Luxor area. And it's quite clear that the dynastic people found this series of tunnels and utilized in a very practical way as tombs, but they didn't. There's absolutely no way that that could have been technically possible for what was, in essence, a Bronze Age culture.
And again, the great thing in recent times, places that were forbidden access to are now being opened, such as the Osiris Shaft, which I will be making a video about, and the fact that you can film and take photographs inside the Valley of the Kings in these massive chamber systems, which is excellent, because what's the point in even visiting these if you're not allowed to take photos and video? And how far does this tunnel system go, is my question. We weren't given access to the entire system, but some of these are much more extensive than even what I have been able to film here, this what you're looking at. There you see some soot on the ceiling, probably from dynastic or later times, from people living inside, or maybe tomb robbers being in there. Beautiful bright colors. These most of these colors are the original from dynastic times. They haven't been retouched, but they're still brilliant.
Absolutely incredible, Brian. Now, let me ask you, are we just scratching the surface of Egypt? What lies beneath the sand dunes? Could there be possibilities of new discoveries like ancient alien tech or hidden treasures? What's your thoughts?
The great thing that's going on in Egypt now, as recently as the last couple of years and is ongoing, is that rather than them closing ancient sites, which are enigmatic and mysterious, they're actually opening ones up that have never been opened to the public before, and that's just fantastic. For example, on the Giza Plateau, there's a site called the Osiris Shaft, which was opened 2 years ago. It costs $2,400 to rent it for 2 hours, but it's worth it if you have a group. And It's absolutely amazing. It consists of 3 levels. First, you take a ladder down 30 to 40 feet. This is in the bedrock. And then you're in a large chamber, and then you walk forward and go down another ladder that takes you 100 feet into the bedrock. And inside that area at the bottom, there are 6 small chambers, including 2 large stone boxes weighing somewhere in the region of 40 tons apiece. They have cataclysmic damage, as if something exploded from the inside out.
And inside, mysterious, massive damage, again, as if the interior of the box exploded. Very strange. This isn't simply tomb robbers going in and trying to extract material from the interior. There's some kind of chemical process went in here which is very weird. So again, looking up the ceiling, there are bits of splat, but not what I would call smoke or carbon material from a flame. Some other kind of strange phenomenon occurred here. And this box, supposedly the material is not granite, it's not basalt, it's not syenite, it's not diorite. It's a stone that is not found in Egypt. So weighing in at a minimum of 30 tons, where did this stone come from? How was it shaped? And how was it brought down the shaft system into this niche? Here again you can see the tool marks, very similar, almost scraping like tool marks. And then we're looking down into what will be the actual bottom level of the Osiris shaft.
Half filled with crystal clear water, and under the surface is a giant granite box that weighs approximately 60 tons and still has its lid on top of it. And so I've been in 2 times so far, and in March of 2020 we'll go back and I will actually go in the water in order to examine the box itself. Also, another location at Abydos, recently they opened up a tunnel system which is in the bedrock once again and is at least 600 feet long. This again requires special permission and payment, but we're definitely going to be there in March of 2020 to record this amazing tunnel system. And who knows what else they'll open up in the future, whereas many countries are starting to shut down their enigmatic sites because they're getting too much interest. Egypt is opening ancient locations up for us to examine.
And there is underground water, of course, at Giza. But this water is crystal clear. So where exactly did it come from? And was it intended that this water be in there and be part of whatever process this structure originally performed? Because they call it a symbolic tomb, which is a really cheap way of saying we don't understand what this was made for, who made it, and when it was made. It's clearly megalithic, and thus it's likely at least 12,000 years old and was found by the dynastic Egyptians. They did not construct this, because this possibly could be beyond 21st century technology that was involved, which we see also at other places in ancient Egypt. The clear signs of lost ancient high technology that was present long before the time of the Pharaonic people.
I want to ask you this. Recently, Bob Lazar was on the Joe Rogan show, and he stated something that surprised me. He said that the flying saucers, 9 of them, that was recovered and sent to Area 51 was from an archaeological dig. Do you think we could possibly find ancient alien civilization evidence within and underneath Egyptian soil itself?
Most experts estimate that about 15% of the megalithic works in Egypt have been opened to the public. The Great Pyramids, of course, parts of the underground tunnel systems that we've been able to explore, but that leaves 85% still to be explored. And what I'm talking about is not structures that are buried under the sand, but structures built underground, shafts and tunnel systems that may go from the Giza Plateau area all the way to Karnak. And so what we're hoping is that over the course of time, the Egyptian government will open up some of these locations, such as the Osiris shaft I already mentioned, to the public. They will of course charge a fee for this, but this will allow us to see how massive and extensive the megalithic constructions in Egypt actually are. So it's very promising, and I'm very much looking forward to my yearly visits to Egypt. Every time we go, we get to see and explore more and more locations that we're not able to see in the past. And a very exciting place to visit is in the Nile Delta. It's called Tanis, and there are lots of megalithic works there. Some of the granite had to have been moved from Aswan, which is 1,000 miles away. And it's a location that honestly appears to have been nuked or struck by intense heat, blowing up all of the megalithic works there. And the excavations, which were begun in the 19th century, they had to dig down to the soil, which is more like moon dust because it can't support any life. It's literally like walking on the moon. The excavations there revealed all of these massive megalithic works in that location. So if you're interested in looking that up on the internet, Tanis is spelled T-A-N-I-S, and it's an incredible location. We're going back there in March of 2020 as well.
And once again, another quartzite statue with very bad cracking and literal melting of the surface. When we look in detail, you can see that this quartzite has melted. You see the small blobs of the quartz crystal. And here again in detail, melting that would have taken at least 2,000 degrees centigrade. And yet again, another close-up of the melted surface of the quartzite. We speculate this event took place 12,000 years ago. And here again, another statue made of quartzite, very badly cracked and very badly burnt and melted. This fits in with Dr. Robert Schoch's theory of plasma ejection from the sun hitting certain parts of the earth approximately 12,000 years ago. So that's twice as old as the dynastic period in Egypt, which tells us that there was an advanced technological civilization in Egypt 12,000 plus years ago.
Very interesting, and I'm sure, again, we're going to be finding out more about the mysteries of Egypt real soon, thanks to you, Brian Forrester. Can you tell me what we could expect for your next adventure and how people could join you on your tour?
Well, our Elongated Skulls tour in August of this year, which is sold out. Then in September, we're going to be exploring Turkey, as I mentioned. That tour is sold out. In November, we have our grand tour of ancient sites of Peru and Bolivia, including Machu Picchu and Pumapunku. That tour is sold out. Then in January, as I mentioned, we're going to go to India. It may be my only trip to India because it's such a great distance from Peru, where I live. And then in March, we're going to be exploring Egypt. That'll be my 8th trip there, 8th annual adventure. Right after that, we're going to be exploring megalithic aspects of Israel. Then in June, we have our Inti Raymi Festival, Inca Festival of the Sun Tour. That's June of 2020. And then in August, we're going to be repeating our Elongated Skulls tour, and then on it goes. So there's many opportunities, some limited, some not, for people to come and explore with us. And if you want to learn anything about me or my work, it's www.hiddenincatours.com.
Thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate it. Now, if you want to take a look at Brian Forrester's channel, the link is below in the description. Make sure you subscribe to Brian's channel. He goes on the adventures of a lifetime, and you're more than welcome to join him. He offers incredible tours to explore the unexplained. Now, if you've captured something unexplainable in the skies, submit your video to us right here at Third Phase of Moon. My email is in the description. Upload your video to YouTube and copy paste it to my email. Everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. We're not alone. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again, Brian, for joining us.